Hey, what's up, guys? It's Johnny. Welcome to episode 90 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here with Larry, originally from New Jersey, but now living in Chicago.
Yep, that's right.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to have you on the show was it was pretty fun just to bump into you again today. I was having lunch with a guy named Isaac, who I met about a year ago, right before the Dropshipping Retreat a year ago, and now he's back in Chiang Mai to go to this one. And when I saw you, like, just sitting next to him in the cafe, I was like, hey, Larry, and I remembered your name, but it was like one of those things where I don't think I've spoken to you or even seen you on Facebook or anything for like a year.
Yeah. So I also met Isaac almost 12 months ago. It was at the Dropshipping Lifestyle Retreat last year in Chiang Mai, so I think we met same time there, and I don't think we've interacted as much or at all in the last 12 months, so yeah, it's cool bumping into you.
Yeah, so I wonder how many other people I'm going to see this next week that I recognize from a year ago who has not posted, on Facebook. Do you even really participate in the forums?
I do. I try to. I mean, I'm not that great at it, but every once in a while I'll try to go on. If I have a question about anything particular in dropshipping, I'll try to see if any of the higher level guys on there, are going to answer the question or have posted something about it. But I try to go in there and comb through some of the beginner and intermediate level questions and see where I can help. But I'm not that great at it, to be honest.
That's all right. I try. I think even me, I don't spend as much time on there anymore, but I try to log on every day, just even for a few minutes, and just see if there's anything that I can help answer that other people can't.
Yeah.
But I've noticed a lot more people have been actively helping now.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, I think one of the craziest and most awesome things about Dropshipping Lifestyle is the number of experienced people who do stick around and help on the forum, and I mean it's crazy. That community is so great at helping each other that, I mean, really, if you're going to join the Dropship Lifestyle, it's almost worth it just to join for that community.
Yeah, I think that applies for not just this course, but for, let's say you want to publish Kindle books.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do Amazon FBA.
Yeah.
It's just for the community, so they can answer your personal questions. I think that makes it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you want to do affiliate marketing, that'd be a great community.
People in my course, I mean, It's crazy because people can either pay $115 an hour to ask me questions over Skype, or they can just join my course for $197 and then they can ask me whatever they want, and I'm happy to help in my forums.
Yeah, well, a lot of great ROI right there.
So since I saw you last time, you were working. What was your last corporate job? What was your last job?
My last corporate job was as a financial systems consultant. So I basically went to large universities, help them upgrade or implement their financial systems, and that does a lot of stuff on the back end. I mean, it handles all of their grant money from the government and private organizations, and helps to integrate that and make sure that goes all the way through to billing the right people and taking in the money and making sure all that's accounted for. So really complicated, but semi niche stuff. Okay. Niche as far as a specialty, but broadly applied. But
is it more accounting based or software based, or what is it?
It is both. So it's at its core it's an accounting software, but then it does so much more at a lot of different levels. Okay.
So for example, a big university hires, I guess, the firm that you work for?
Yeah, consulting firm, right.
Okay. And then you fly out there? How often did you have to travel for
that? Every week. It was pretty much every week. So my most recent one was in California. So I'd be flying from Chicago to San Francisco every week, and door to door, that was a 7.5 hour commute one way, and pretty wearing on the body and the mind too.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So how many days would you stay out there?
Generally 4 days. Okay. If it was, if there was a big event going on, like if we were, having a go live for the software, meaning the software was going to be rolled out to everybody, then we'd stay out the weekend, or multiple weekends. Fortunately, I didn't have to do that this time around in California, but that would mean I'd be out there 3 weeks, at a time, and not go home, which is okay for some people, but when you're out there, you're pretty much working the entire time if you do one of these events. So it's a lot of work.
So you're not sightseeing?
No, you're not sightseeing during that time, not at all. I mean, you'll go out to dinner with your team, but there's no sightseeing during that time.
But I remember when I used to have to travel for work, I worked for Honeywell. Technically, I was a consultant, but I was more just in business sales.
Yeah, sure.
But it was cool because we got to use our expense cards.
Oh, yeah.
You got to eat for free. Was that kind of the same case?
Yeah, same case. So coming right out of college. So I did it for a little over 4 years, and the first 2 years, pretty cool, very glorified. You're fresh out of college. You have a company paying you to go stay in a real nicer hotel, paying for all your meals, or at least giving you however much money per day to spend. And you're out of college, and you're like, wow, my time is valuable enough that they're paying all this stuff for me to do this work.
I don't remember what my per diem was, but I remember just thinking, man, I would work just for this.
I know, dude. I mean, so it was very funny. Like my first project, I got my paycheck, and I also got the expense reimbursement. And the expense reimbursement was a lot higher than what I was actually getting paid. So like my actual salary was like, I don't know, like 3/4 of what the actual expenses to bring me out there were. So kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's the same. So I guess they can't really just hire someone in each city, because then they have to train up the team and have all the back end for it.
Yeah. So like the way a lot of consulting companies operate is, if a lot do have offices around the country in the U.S., but sometimes if you have a project in San Francisco and you have a San Francisco office, maybe that San Francisco office isn't that big, or maybe there's nobody with whatever particular specialty that let's say a company in in Northern California needs, so they'll fly somebody out. So
when you were traveling so much, how did your friends, family, girlfriend, how did they feel about that?
Friends, I mean, it was fine. Like they all worked during the week. Family, I mean, most of my family's back in New Jersey anyway, so I live in Chicago, and I see them, try to see them as much as I can, but that wasn't as much of a big deal. Girlfriend, initially it wasn't great for the relationship. I mean, as you can imagine, like if you're in a serious relationship, then it's not great to be away that much. But we kind of got used to it. So leaving was really more for my mental sanity.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I didn't realize this. So I haven't spoken to you for a year.
Yeah. And
when did you quit that job, and when did you start just dropshipping full time?
So my first dropshipping store was started back in March, but didn't really do much with it. I kind of realized I wasn't going to the right place, and then kind of rebranded with a new domain, a new store, and really started working on it in maybe August, and then really started working on it in right before the retreat. And after I made my first few sales, and I saw the pattern of consistency or potential consistency, that's when I finally decided to pull the trigger. And right before the retreat, about 2 or 3 weeks. Well, I put in my 2 weeks notice, so that's when I technically did it. But I made the decision probably late September of 2014.
Okay. Yeah. So you started the store while you're still working full time?
Yeah. That was tough.
Yeah. How'd you make the time for that?
You got to work nights. You got to work weekends. Every once in a while. Hopefully they won't care now. But you got to take a phone call when you need to take a phone call. So, but I mean that didn't really happen all that much because my store wasn't getting all that much traffic anyway. So I kind of got to grind through and work the nights and weekends and all that. And that's one of the toughest things for me. I mean, I know other people can do like 80 hours of work a week, and I was probably doing 50 to 60 at my job. Throwing in that extra 20 with that, what is it, like 14, 15 hours of travel on top. I had a really hard time doing it.
Yeah, it's insane. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that's part of the reason I quit. I mean, the stress of like weekly travel on you it grows. I think like I had a certain limit to how much I could travel. And I hit that limit pretty quick because I was doing pretty long distances.
Yeah, I think that's really fun. Like right out of college,
yeah,
you're like, yeah, look how cool I am. I'm gonna, my company's paying for me to fly to San Francisco to
going out for steak dinners.
Yeah,
get a couple cocktails at dinner, all paid for.
Yeah, all expenses paid.
Yeah,
and then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. You can pay me not to do this.
Yeah. I mean, it comes to a certain point where you really start to realize, like, am I going in the right direction? Like, I'm spending a lot of time doing this stuff. I'm getting, kind of digging myself more and more into this particular niche of a specialty. Is this something I really want to do with the rest of my life? Am I on the right path? And for me, that answer was no. And I was like, the more time I spend, in this place, the more time I'm really wasting. And why waste the time?
So how did you originally find dropshipping?
Actually, so I found your Muay Thai blog. So I was doing Muay Thai while I traveled to different cities. I'd like find a school and I'd try to go there. And my dream was actually to try to come to Thailand for a week or two and like go to a Muay Thai camp. And so I started like looking up information on Muay Thai camps, and I found your blog. And then after a while, I kept following it, but my Muay Thai training kind of waned because my hours wouldn't allow me to actually make it to any of the classes. But then I was still following your blog, and then you had talked about dropshipping on that blog, and I found found Anton's course that way, and kind of followed your progress through, and I was like, oh well, like maybe this can actually work, and then I joined the course on a whim. I was like, fuck it, don't have anything to lose, right? I mean, a couple $100 or something at that time, I think was how much it was priced, but there was that 30-day money back guarantee, and I'm like, well, if it doesn't work out, get my money back, but it did, and I'm happy it did. I'm happy I found the course, and I'm happy I found your Muay Thai blog.
That's crazy. I've never met anyone on the podcast. You're the first to have found the course, or you found me through that blog. Yeah,
very strange series of events to bring me here. But so at the same time, like I always knew that I was not really passionate about what I was doing at the time, and I was kind of just looking for that stepping stone to take me away and help me start my own business, which is kind of what I've always wanted to do. My parents are entrepreneurs, and they've kind of always pushed me in that direction. Even though they sent me to school, they were always like, just make sure that if you're going to be working, for somebody else, you're always going to be making money for them. But if you really want to be successful for yourself, then you have to start your own business, and that was kind of always ingrained in my mind. So that's had that going through college, and had that while working for a large corporation, but the dropship lifestyle was kind of the stepping stone to kind of get me started on that path.
That's really cool that your parents instilled that in you, because I don't think I've ever met another Asian American whose parents were like, yeah, you should do your own thing. For my parents and every other Asian American I know, it's like you need to get good grades, you can go to good university, so you can be either a dentist, lawyer, or doctor.
Yeah, or engineer.
Which
is what I did. So
what did your parents do? Like, what kind of business were they in?
So my dad and my uncle worked for other companies when they came here, and then eventually they got investment money to invest in their own company, and they bought a company that was not doing as well, and then they basically built that back up, and they import products out of China and sell it globally. So.
Okay. Are they retired now, or are they still doing it?
No. I mean, they're still grinding it out. I think my uncle's still grinding it out. My dad's closer to ready to retire, but yeah, they still grind out work.
Okay. So how did they feel once you started, running your own e-commerce store?
They were very, very supportive. I mean, I think it helps that they were entrepreneurs themselves, and they believe in the benefits of running and owning your own business and creating your own business. And I mean, they were extremely supportive, and I'm so thankful that they were, because I know that there's definitely other Asian American parents that would be like, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be that doctor, right? But for them, very happy that they were supportive of me.
That's cool. And did they understand the dropshipping model?
Yeah, they did. I mean, it seemed pretty simple for them to understand, but probably just because they understand like small businesses and how they work. But yeah, they understood exactly how it worked, and they were kind of surprised that it could work that easily. Like, oh, that sounds really easy. It's not that easy though. Just so you know, it does take a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, you were putting in 80-hour weeks, like.
Yeah, I don't want to exaggerate too much. I was probably like adding 10 to 15 hours on some weeks, and then other weeks I just wasn't at all because I was too burnt out from work. So it took a long time.
That's definitely understandable, and I think there's a lot of people who have a normal job, and they're like, okay, well, can I do this on the side?
Yeah.
I think the answer is always yes if you don't give up.
Yeah.
But I think, are you going to do it in 6 weeks or 8 weeks? Probably not, unless you're really dedicated.
Yeah, that's that's kind of what it was for me. Like I knew I probably could have slow played it and just kept working and kept doing this on the side, but I knew I wasn't going to be serious about it unless unless I actually quit my job and didn't have a paycheck coming in to kind of light that fire under my ass to really work for it. So that's what worked for me. I know there's definitely other people out there that work their full-time jobs and are able to do this on the side, and that's no problem for them, but it wasn't the same circumstances for me.
So when you put in your 2 weeks notice, how much were you actually making from your store?
Not very much, I'll be honest. I started seeing the patterns of sales come in, and I think in October it was September, I probably made less than $1,000 on my store, and I hadn't even figured out how to fully calculate my advertising costs. So, there was a lot of uncertainty there, but I think I had faith in the system, and I saw the potential of it, and I knew how much work I had put into it, which at that time wasn't all that much. And I knew if I could just take all that, the 50, 60 hours of work I was doing for my full-time job and apply that to my dropshipping store, I didn't have a doubt that I could at least get it to, half of my current income or something like that.
Okay.
And that was enough.
What was your current income at the time? Like, I'm assuming consultants make pretty decent money.
They make decent money. I mean, it's generally above average because it's a specialty. So don't want to throw out a specific number though.
Okay, but we'll just guess that it's like pretty decent money.
It's decent.
And then fast forward, I guess it's been a year now.
Yeah.
What are you at now?
So last month was actually the first month that I was able to match what I was making before, before like all the benefits, like the 401k matching, like the health insurance, because that's harder to quantify. But I was making what I made at my full-time job 12 months ago for that month.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Johnny. I appreciate it.
I think that's a huge milestone, man.
Yeah, it is. But I don't want to kind of celebrate yet because I know it's a continuing process, right? There's hard work. You got to keep putting in the time, keep working, and as with anything, when you're selling a product, nothing is ever for sure. I mean, you got to keep working. You got to keep making sure you make improvements in order to keep that consistent.
So what's crazy is I was actually just thinking about this earlier this morning when I was just walking to work today. I was thinking nothing in life is guaranteed.
Yeah, that's true.
And it really is true. Like, so if you have a job, so like let's say your corporate job, even though you're a full-time employee, you have a set salary, even that's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think it is. They're like, oh no, like this big company, I'm going to work for them forever until I'm retired. But anything can happen.
It's true.
And I almost feel like it's almost less guaranteed because you're completely in their hands. Versus with your own business, your guarantee is that you can replicate that success in another business or to another niche. Like, you have the confidence and the kind of ability to do it. Yeah. Versus if you're working for someone else, I mean, I guess your only guarantee is that experience on a resume and maybe someone else will hire you. Yeah.
I mean, when you work in position, what you're building up is your ability to do very well at that particular job. Mm-hmm. When you're building a business, you're building up the ability, the skill set, and the foundation to learn how to make it on your own, to learn how to build a business, which is tremendous, I think, when you compare it to a single specific job position, because you're wearing so many different hats as an entrepreneur. You have to be the marketing guy, you have to be the sales guy, you have to do accounting, you have to do design, coding, if you do that kind of work. But it's very different.
Yeah, I firmly believe that if I had to open like another business, even if I had nothing to do with dropshipping, so let's say I wanted to open a coffee shop, I would be so much more successful with my knowledge today than I would have been 2.5 years ago before I started a store.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. And also now I'm smart enough not to open a coffee shop. Well, 2.5 years ago, maybe I would have thought it was a good idea.
Well, you never know. I mean, coffee's getting more and more popular now. I mean, especially with Bulletproof Coffee, Dave Asprey opening up that Santa Monica location.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. If I lived in Santa Monica, I would definitely, because they have food there too. Yeah. So I would probably just get an apartment close by there. So this would be my life. Okay, if I was gonna move back to the US, live in Santa Monica. Yeah. Live around the corner from there. I'll just eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I'll get a Tesla because you can park in Santa Monica at any meter for free if you have a Tesla.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
I think it might be for any electric car, but Tesla uses it in their marketing.
Yeah.
And what's even cooler is you can park at LAX, the airport, for free for 2 weeks at a time.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Wow. I think it's any electric car. So if you want to go to a trip somewhere, you want to fly anywhere, you just leave your car there.
For 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks at a time.
Yeah. And then what happens after? You got to start paying for it?
Then you pay like $80 a day. Something insane.
The standard rates?
Yeah. Actually, so what I did the last time I was in LA is I rented a car through, it's called Fly.
Avis?
No, like Fly Car or something. It's a startup.
Oh, okay.
And cool. What it is they advertise it so you can leave your car there. Yeah. And instead of paying $30 a day to park it, you can park it for free. they rent out your car for you.
Wow.
And then they give you a percentage of that income.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've heard of similar services, not necessarily just while you're at the airport, but just whenever you're not using your car. I'm a bit averse to a service like that right now, just because I don't know how they vet the drivers, and like, I'm sure there can be some nightmare stories from that. But at the same time, I'm sure somebody said that about Uber when it first started.
Yeah, 100%. And they all have like insurance, liability, everything.
Yeah.
I actually had briefly considered renting a car, or leasing a car, like a Fiat 500.
Yeah.
Because it's $200 a month to lease. And then if you just leave your car full time with these services, I think they guarantee up to $450 a month.
Oh, really?
So in my mind, I was like, I could just arbitrage this.
That's a guarantee?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
how are people not using this as arbitrage right now?
I think a couple of reasons. One, it becomes a slight liability on your part because you're renting a car. And then I think the main reason why I didn't do it is I found out that the Fiat didn't qualify as like a compact car. It was like a subcompact.
Oh, okay.
So then I think the guarantee payout was like $250 or something. So it just wasn't worth it.
You could pay off a car that way though. If you really wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I always thought of it as, because a lot of people listen to this like, I would never leave my car at some random airport, let someone park, someone else drive it.
Yeah.
But for me, if it's like a lease, then you don't really care as much.
Right. Right.
If it's like your personal car that you bought, yeah, it's a little bit different because you're stuck with it.
Yeah, that's true.
But if it's a lease, it's under warranty. You can return it after a few years.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about any permanent problems as much.
Yeah, and I think if I ever get a car again, well, I'm sure I'm gonna get a car. The next time I get a car, it's gonna be a lease and it's gonna be a business car. It's gonna be.
What kind of business car?
I mean, just as a business car.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean that's I think my parents had instilled me a long time ago. I'd always ask them why they leased the cars, and they tried to explain to me when I was real young that if you have a business, you lease it. It makes way more sense than having than buying a car, and I didn't really understand that until probably when I was in college. I understood taxes, and you take your first accounting course, and then it all makes sense.
But the crazy thing is, all the people that I know who don't have a business and they lease a car.
Yeah, I mean,
that makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm sure that they have their reasons. Maybe they value paying the extra money to have a nicer car than they could purchase. But sure, everybody has their reason for it. But
I honestly think that it's a way to trick yourself into thinking you can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely look at it like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. All the people buying the iPhone 6S.
Yeah.
How many of you guys would be able to pay this $850 up front for it right now? Like, very few, right? Yeah. Most people have bills, they have rent to pay.
Yeah.
But how many people can afford $30 a month? All of us can.
Right.
So it's kind of a way to just subsidize, be like, oh, well, you know what? Yeah, I can afford $30 a month.
Yeah.
In reality, should we be spending that extra $30 a month? Maybe, maybe not, right?
Don't ruin the business model for the telecom companies, Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then you factor in, like, people are paying like $70 or sometimes $100 a month for their cell phone bill.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It gets pretty intense. Yeah.
It's so insane because, like, while traveling, I just get a SIM card. Every time I land in a new country, I get a SIM card for $5 and I put like $10 or $12 worth of credit on it.
Yeah.
And it gives me data for a month.
Yeah, and that's what I did when I traveled for 4 months earlier this year. Just new SIM card everywhere you go. I had my phone unlocked for that purpose too. So I mean, it's just the prepaid system is just so much better for the consumer. I feel like, unless of course you really want that new shiny iPhone and you can't afford it.
I don't know. Well, if I was in the US, I would get a new. I think it's called Google Fi, maybe.
Yeah, Google Fi. That's the internet service, right?
So there's Google Fiber, which is the internet service.
About, yeah.
But then there's Google Fi, which is confusing, but that's a cell phone service.
Oh, okay.
And it's only available in certain zip codes. I got an invitation because I put in my parents' zip code in San Francisco.
That's awesome.
And it's really cool because it's like a flat rate of, I believe it's $10 a month flat rate, and then $10 per gig.
Wow.
So let's say you use 2 gigs of data a month.
Yeah.
That's only $30.
That's crazy.
And what the best thing about it is they subscribe to all the different networks. I think they do like T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon.
Oh, and so you get the best of.
It'll switch for you. Depending on what the best signal is.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I mean, Google's just disrupting another industry right there.
Well, the reason why they're doing it is not because they want to be the next cell phone provider. They want to disrupt the industry, so those other companies are forced to be better.
No, really?
Yes.
Is that's their...
That is their mission statement.
Wow.
Because they're not going to be able to roll out to every single city.
Sure.
But what's going to happen is if they get to enough big cities,
Right.
everyone's going to sign up for that.
Yeah.
And these big companies are going to lose market share.
Yeah.
So they're going to be like, okay, well, now we have to kind of match their rates.
Yeah. But then these big companies are still going to have to, agree to let Google Fi onto their networks, right? Somehow. So because something's got to work out there.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of back end stuff that we don't know about, but I think it's in Google's best interest for everyone to use as much data as possible. On their phone,
right.
So we can click more of their ads and use more of their services.
Yeah.
So they're not trying to make money from it. They're just trying to keep it easy. I think the only downside to it right now is you have to use a Nexus phone.
Oh, okay. So there's the play right there.
Yep. But I think at that point, I don't know, if I was living in San Francisco, and so let's say I wasn't based in Chiang Mai, I was based in San Francisco,
Sure.
and then I was traveling a lot. I was traveling internationally a lot.
Yeah.
I would definitely use Google Fi because while I'm home, it's cheap and it's easy.
And it's pay to use.
And then when you travel, you gotta use your data in every country for free.
No way, really?
Yeah. So it's the same plan. So you'll still pay $30 for 2 gigs of data, but you can use that anywhere in the world.
How's that possible? Right.
It's kind of like the T-Mobile roaming.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so T-Mobile is good too, except for that they throttle you back.
They do.
So it's super slow while you're traveling.
Yeah.
What do you have?
I have AT&T, so I don't have that, but I know Isaac is using T-Mobile, and I know he says that it's can be slow depending on when he's using it.
Yeah, but at least you get off the plane, you have data, so you can text someone.
Yeah, or find out where you are on Google Maps.
Yeah, I like that. So the plan that I have, and here's kind of my secret tip for the day, is I'm on AT&T's Go Phone, which is their prepaid service.
Nice.
And I'm on the $2 a day plan. So it's $2 per day that I use I make a call.
Yeah.
And what I do is I just don't use it when I'm not in Thailand and when I'm not in the US.
Yeah.
So as long as my credit doesn't drop below $100 balance, so I always put like $100 worth of balance on there just so it stays for like 2 years.
Sure.
I don't get charged anything, but I get to keep my phone number.
Oh.
Which is cool because on my voicemail I'll say, "Hey, I'm in Thailand. Like email me." But as soon as I get back to the US, I just make my first call.
Yeah.
Charges me $2. I'm back in action.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's a genius way of travel hacking right there.
Oh yeah, because it's by far the cheapest way to keep your phone number.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. I'll have to keep that in mind if I end up moving somewhere for months out of the year.
So what are your travel plans?
So I have traveled. So earlier this year from I think it was March through to July or through to June. Traveled to 22 cities and 14 countries or something like that, and in a very short period of time. So that was kind of like what I had set up with my girlfriend, so we could do all the traveling that I really wanted to do, and kind of get a lot of it out of my system.
Okay.
So
where did you want to go? Where did you end up?
We did a lot of Western Europe, a little bit of Eastern Europe, and then Southeast Asia, China, and then East Asia as well. So a few cities in Japan, and that was probably one of the coolest destinations we went to. Yeah.
And what was her favorite place?
Japan as well. Yeah, Japan was pretty sweet. Japan, Vietnam was awesome for her as well, and I think I probably liked Thailand more than she did. But she liked Thailand as well. Okay.
So do you think that you two would ever move to Japan or something?
I mean, if we had the means, and if there was a reason for her to go and me, that'd be a really cool thing to do for 6 months a year.
All right. Is she still working like a normal job?
She is actually in school to become a physician assistant. So it's about a 30 to 33 month commitment. Okay. So she's kind of tied down there, and I'm kind of just trying to grow the business, making sure I can keep everything afloat.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So what have you actually done like with your store since a year ago to grow it to where it is now?
So a lot of growth comes from finding additional suppliers. So my kind of strategy was, rather than open a new store, I grew kind of expanded the niche a little bit more. So expanded laterally into still kind of in that niche, but a slightly different product. And continue to do that, continue to go to these webinars and learn how to use Google Shopping more efficiently, figure out different channels to market with, and figured out how to optimize my product pages and store and all of that. I mean, it's been a lot of hodgepodge stuff that I've been learning to try to improve my store.
Nice. How did you find these webinars?
Google. I mean, I Google around on how to find how to improve my Google Shopping, and a lot of sources come continually. Like CPC Strategy, I think, is a fantastic resource for Google Shopping. They have a lot of free webinars with a ton of valuable information, and I mean, it's crazy that it's free. So
are these sponsored by Google or by a different company?
No. So CPC Strategy is its own company. It's its own advertising company that kind of teaches you how to improve your AdWords.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And you said it's been worth your time learning this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that there's so much free content out there is amazing, and the fact that they have such good free content, really makes me consider eventually paying for the premium content. So, I mean, that's kind of the shtick of anything, right? If they kind of bring you in with all their amazing free content, but then you kind of know that the paid content is going to be very high quality as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great business model.
Yeah.
And that's why I like, pretty much on this podcast, every single time I try to get people to just reveal like what's helped them the best.
Yeah.
And it almost always it ends up being something that it's not just because it's free on YouTube. Ends up being like someone is making money from it.
Sure.
But if it's a valuable course that gives you return on your investment, then why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so I didn't know this until like literally just as we sat down, but you said you applied for some kind of position with Anton for Skillable.
Yeah. So I think it was back in August. Anton had sent out emails to current Dropship Lifestyle members, saying that there were a few job positions open, and one of them was a position where basically the requirements were you have a successful dropshipping store or a functional dropshipping store. And you can work on that store on the side. It was encouraged to work on that store on the side while you helped with with Skillable and with Dropship Lifestyle. And I was like, well, I mean, it's kind of the perfect job description, right? Because I'm already working on my store. I want to continue to work on it, but at the same time, I think I could be of service here. So I applied for the position. Anton interviewed me, and then took me on, and now I'm part of the team.
That's really cool.
Partially, I spend maybe 2-3 hours every day on it.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So have you been out to Saigon?
I have, but that was just a part of my 4-month travel stint.
Okay.
Tried to meet with Anton there, but I think our schedules just didn't work out.
So when was that last time you actually saw him?
Last year.
I don't think I've seen him for a year either.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I honestly do not remember the last time I saw him. Maybe it was at the retreat last year. I think it might have been a whole year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the last time I saw him. I mean, I saw him on Skype, kind of, so I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, so we know he's still alive.
Yeah. He's a busy guy, so,
That's crazy. So what is Skillable, just for people that don't know?
So Skillable is kind of a platform like Udemy. I don't want to say it is Udemy, but you have these courses like Dropship Lifestyle, Membership Masters, very, very high level courses on there, and it's kind of the platform to host all that content, to make sure to email the content out, and it's just kind of like a centralized location that you can access all
the courses.
Yeah.
So it's like a higher end Udemy that doesn't have $10 flash sales.
Exactly. much higher end. All the courses are vetted and by Anton, who's has an amazing business mindset. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic resource, and I really see like education going in this direction. Less and less towards formal education and more towards things like this.
Did you go to university?
I did. Yeah, I went to the University of Michigan. Go Blue.
So I went to University of California, Irvine. Personally, I don't really feel like I got that much value out of going. I didn't get my ROI.
Sure. No, that completely makes sense. I went to Michigan out of state, so it's really tough to say whether I got my ROI on that, because out of state tuition's fairly expensive. But I understand what you mean. The traditional college environment is not for everybody. I think there's some great merit to it, and it definitely works out for some people, but it's not for everybody.
I think. So if I had kids right now and they were saying, should I go to college? I would say to them, what do you want to go to college for? Do you know what like what your plan is. And if they're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I would say, well, don't waste my 30 grand a year. But if they said, Dad, I want to be an engineer, I want to go, this school has a good engineering program, I'll say, okay, yeah, that sounds good. You should do that.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of went to, that's why I went to school. I knew I want, so I didn't necessarily want to be an engineer, but I knew how marketable I could be after being an engineer. And then, that's kind of what my parents and I talked about. I'm like, I'm going to go to this top 5 or top 10 engineering school at the time and get this degree, and I know I can be very marketable afterwards. And that was the agreement we made.
Okay. And it worked?
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm not doing engineering now, and I'm not in a corporate job, so.
But I think if you didn't, so let's say you didn't have that good corporate job as a consultant.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would have the confidence now to do your own business? Because, like, for example, for me, if I didn't have a good corporate job, I would have assumed that I wouldn't be happy until I got a good corporate job.
Yeah, I think you're right in that sense. Like, so after you graduate and you spend all that time, I think personally you do have to justify it to yourself to get a corporate job, or at least to get a position or start a company where you kind of see that ROI on the tuition that you paid. And at the same time, working in corporate America, I think, is valuable in itself. One, to kind of teach you how businesses are run and how business etiquette in general. And two, to kind of show you whether you're going to love corporate life or you're going to hate it.
Yeah. Did you love it or you hated it?
It wasn't my thing. I didn't have passion for it. I think I probably could have spent the rest of my life doing it and just not been happy with where I was going. So I can't say hate because it's a very strong word. There's very good merits to having a solid corporate job. There's a certainty of health insurance that while you have the job, things like that.
I think I loved it for the first year.
Yeah.
Well, at least I was excited about it for the first year.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't think I ever really hated it, but it became like a chore.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, I still remember I had a closet full of Kirkland signature white dress shirts. And I hated ironing them. Like, I bought this garment steamer to make it easier.
Just to iron them.
And I would just have like these damp, moist, thick white collared shirts with a button on the collar.
Uh-huh.
I just hated wearing it.
I never iron my shirts after I figured out a little hack. So a little hack for anybody out there: get some either Charles Truitt or Brooks Brothers non-iron shirts. Then go to a tailor to make them look nice. Get them fitted, and then from then on, what you do is you got to shower in the morning for this to work. But basically, if you're traveling with them, you can fold them up and then take them out in the morning. You hang them up in the shower, take a hot shower. It steams out and it looks great afterwards. No ironing whatsoever. That was my little
nice travel hack.
Yeah,
all right. So here's my travel hack: quit that job, go get some tank tops or t-shirts, a pair of shorts, put them in a pile.
Yeah.
Put it in your backpack. Wake up in the morning in Thailand and just not care.
I like that travel hack a lot better. I hope I never am forced to wear a dress shirt again, but.
Except for like a wedding or something.
Yeah, right. Well, no, that's different. So wearing a suit because it's stylish is, I think, more acceptable than having to wear a suit because your job says you need to wear this to come in. So
for a while, if you guys ever saw photos from like my Facebook like 6 months ago, I wore a suit everywhere, and I think it was I think I even wore like a shirt and tie, like not a shirt tie, but like I wore like a dress shirt and pun space before.
Oh yeah?
Because I was like, starting to do well online. I'm a businessman.
Yeah, man.
So I got a bunch of shirts tailor made here in Chiang Mai because they're like $30 each or something, and they look good, Yeah. So I started wearing those everywhere. When I went back to the U.S., I would wear custom suits walking around, and it was dope. And then
wait, your suits just like normal walking around, like you go to the mall and
no, not to the mall, but like let's say we went to a club or something.
Oh, okay.
I'll put on a custom suit.
Oh man.
I was like, all right, we're gonna boss it out.
That's
right?
awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it because you want to do it, I think that's fantastic. If you're forced to do it, I think then there's kind of a disconnect there.
Yeah, and I think that lasted like maybe 3 months, and I was like, okay, that's enough. I wouldn't.
Suited yourself out.
Yeah, so now I want to be comfortable again since I stopped caring.
I feel you.
Yeah, but you're right. It's such a difference between being forced to be in this uniform, or just allowing yourself to enjoy it.
Exactly.
I mean, just like with scuba diving, I used to have to put on my wetsuit every day
Yeah.
to, because that was my job.
Yep.
And some days I would hate it. Some days it'd be like I would be sick, or like it'd be raining outside, it'd be cold. I'm like, oh man, I got to do this again.
Yeah.
Versus now, I'm like, well, do I want to go diving tomorrow? Is the weather nice?
Right. Yeah. I mean, when somebody makes you do something, it kind of takes a little bit of the enjoyment out of it slowly.
Yeah.
So.
Have you been diving yet?
I have dived once in Australia in the Great Barrier Reef, but that was not. I mean, it was kind of like a guided dive and all that. But I haven't been certified or anything, so that's part of the reason why I haven't been real diving yet.
So what day are you getting down to Krabi?
Leaving tomorrow, actually.
Oh,
so.
me too.
Yeah. Okay.
What time? Morning, afternoon?
Afternoon. I'm taking the afternoon AirAsia flight, I think.
I am as well.
Oh, yeah?
I'm gonna see you on that same
Awesome.
flight. Man, it's actually cool how many people are in. You guys hear that sound? That is scuba diving in Krabi. Yeah. All right, let me mute that. Anyone that has a website still that auto plays music, get rid of that.
Yeah. Turn that shit off.
Yeah. So I'm looking right now to see if there's any diving off of Krabi. So I just googled Krabi fun diving.
The water looks beautiful.
Oh man, it's so I'm looking at Stingray divers right now. I haven't dove with any of these companies, so I don't know how good they are, but the photos. This is a leopard shark. It's beautiful. This one is I want to say, oh man, I don't remember my names anymore, but it's like this fish that looks like this like camouflage monster, and this is super poisonous. It looks like some kind of rockfish.
Super weird.
Yeah. And then here's a turtle, which would be cool. So if we arrive tomorrow, and then what day does the actual retreat start?
The 8th, Thursday.
So we got a couple of days. We can dive on the 7th on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Okay.
I mean, do I need to like go through any classes?
No, don't worry about it. We'll just jump in.
just go rent a
We'll just
tank.
go in. No, we'll have you do something called a Discover Scuba Dive, which is
Okay.
probably what you did in Australia.
Uh-huh.
But what it is they have a guide with you, or like an instructor that just takes a small group. They'll go over some of the basics again, and they'll just take you down.
All right, I have to ask you though. What's the shark population like in the waters of Krabi? I do see some sharks right here.
So the only sharks they have are the leopard sharks, which were the cute ones you just saw at first.
Leopard sharks
Yeah.
sound a lot more dangerous though.
No, they're fine.
They're
And
fine?
then
Okay.
these are the black tip reef sharks, which look like a legit shark, but they're small.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, nothing too dangerous here.
All right, I'll just do what that Australian guy did if they come nearby, just punch it in the nose.
Did he really?
Yeah. There's the whole YouTube video. I think it was a live stream of like a surfing competition somewhere, and an Australian guy, shark, like was swimming right up to him. He saw, and I think he knocked him in the face.
Wow. Okay.
And swam away.
Here's the thing: is like there's so many more. Okay, I found this statistic we've seen on Facebook.
I
Shark
know the
Talks.
statistics.
What is it?
I mean, it's you're more likely to die in so many other ways than be bitten by a shark. I know that logically, but I was having this conversation with a few people the other day here in Chiang Mai actually, and it still doesn't make me feel as comfortable going in the water.
I think it's like this irrational fear that
Oh,
we
it absolutely
have.
is,
Okay,
yeah.
25 shocking things more likely to kill you than a shark. Stoplight intersections, coconuts, mosquitoes, high school college football, champagne corks, tripping, lunch, raw meat, cows, wind, bees, horses, the cold, and ladders. Okay.
I need to see the citations on these.
I don't know, man. Like, so lightning will kill you. 450 people a year die from falling out of beds in the U.S.
Oh, so they include like populations that have trouble getting out of bed.
Yeah, that's true. But lightning.
Yeah.
Lightning kills more people.
That's pretty crazy.
Being left-handed.
What's the reason there? What do you say?
2,500 people a year die.
Oh, when they use products designed for right-handed people. Oh, but then they say they can't confirm the statistic.
Yeah, but it's if you're a redhead, if you're left-handed, you're probably more likely to die from being that.
That's fair.
Than a shark.
I mean, I definitely will go in the water. I think it should be fine. I'm wary enough, and I've done a little Muay Thai. Hopefully, it works in the water.
Maybe an elbow or something would be good.
Bloody elbow to the shark's face.
All right. So what else are you looking forward to at the retreat?
I'm looking forward to meeting just all the other dropshippers out there, especially people who are doing well. I'd like to see some of the strategies that they're using that I am not using yet to kind of compare notes, so to speak. I'm looking to see Anton again and all the presenters. I believe you're presenting there as well.
Yep, on shark attacks.
Shark attacks.
How to dropship like a shark.
Yeah, but I'm definitely looking forward to all the presentations. I think there's going to be a lot of valuable content there.
I think so too. Like last year, man, people were just giving away like really like the best possible content.
Yeah,
like,
just gems and gems of great information there.
I think it's because people in this community really want to help each other.
Yeah.
Like it's so different than any other online forum I've ever been a part of.
Sure. Yeah. I'd agree with that. I mean, the dropship lifestyle community so far has been a very great community. I mean, I think I've kept in touch with a good handful of people, and saw a lot of dropship lifestyle people while I was here, and it's great because these are kind of people I would never have interacted with had I not joined this community.
But what I think is crazy is how many people that I have met in person these last couple of days that I never hear from online.
Yeah.
And you would think that because you don't hear from someone that they've just like maybe they've given up and they moved on.
Yeah.
But like people like you who are now doing super well, and I just assumed you disappeared.
Well, I don't want to say super well. I'm doing okay, but yeah, I mean it's kind of like either people are very successful or not successful, and they may or may not be on the forums.
Yeah. Well, the last episode was with this guy named Jose and Sherika. It's a couple from Australia, and they're doing really well with their stores, and it's Australian-based store too.
That's awesome. Which is a slightly tougher market to conquer. So I mean, it's great to hear that the international students are doing quite well.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to kind of meet everyone else down there because so we have a private Facebook group now for just people going to the retreat. And people are showing up now, people trying to get there a few days early just to hang out. And man, people are so pumped.
Yeah. Just like last year. I mean, everybody's just so excited to learn and meet other people and kind of see what and if they've never been to Thailand before or just, even out of the country, I think there's some people that hadn't been out of the country before. It's a whole new experience for them. Yeah,
it's definitely crazy. So I'm definitely going to try to have at least one or two more people on the show that I meet down there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty wild. I think I'm gonna be there for how long am I gonna be there for? A week. So I'm gonna be there for 6 nights, and then I'm sure I'm gonna meet some cool people. My plan is tomorrow I'm flying down to Krabi. I'm gonna chill for a night, go diving that next morning.
Oh yeah.
Maybe meet up with everyone that night, and then for like 3 days we're gonna do some craziness. Oh man, looks like a podcast that I'm supposed to be on morning, so maybe I can't go diving. Let me find out. Let me see when I can go diving.
Too much responsibility.
Yeah, I'll sort this out with everyone. But Larry, thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
I think everyone people like knowing that it's possible to do this while you're still working a normal job.
Yeah, definitely, and it definitely is possible. But you just got to put the time in. You got to make sure your mind's in the right place to really push you to do this kind of business.
Okay, really cool.
Yeah.
Have a safe flight down to Krabi. For everyone listening, if you guys want to join Dropship Lifestyle, if you want to use my link so I can get credit for referring you, it's antonmethod.com, or you can just go to johnnyfd.com and you can use my link in the resources page. When you use my link, you get free access to my Jumpstart course, which is what I put together to help new members kind of get over the hurdles that most people get stuck. From my experience, every time I help people, they always get stuck either at niche selection or knowing when to call suppliers or making that first sale. So it's like, I think 7 or 8 videos where I just walk you through exactly what I do if you get stuck on any of those. And I appreciate, it's kind of like my thank you for you guys using my link so I can get credit for referring you. That's it. So I will try to have fun down in Krabi. Hopefully I'll see some of these sharks underwater. Larry, thanks again. And everybody, I'll see you next week. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast.
If you want to hear more, including the bonus, how to choose the perfect niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've